Hey all, Cohen here. So, this is the video where I explain to you why I have decided to cancel my Phalloplasty date. So, we'll start at the beginning. I had applied for funding through OHIP, probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago maybe, and my name had come up, and I got my letter for funding, and then I had sent off all my information and got booked in with Dr. Chen at Brownstein and Crane. And then I was told that my consult date would have to be moved. It was supposed to be in May, and my consult date ended up being at the end of this summer. So I did have an over the phone consult. It was super awesome. I was told that I was being switched to Dr. Safer because Dr. Chen has decided to leave and create his own practice. There are some people and some rumors going around about why he left or what made him go do his own thing, but to be honest, I don't know any of that. I spoke to Dr. Safer and was dealing with him. I never really spoke to Dr. Chen, so at that point, it's one of those things where I'm not too sure what went on there, but I just like to think that uh, he wanted to go do his own thing, so why not go start your own surgery, right? Like he's good enough at it, he's trained at it, and yeah, maybe it'd just be better for him. So that's the way I look at it. I didn't look into it as anything negative or he left for a negative reason. So um, not too sure, but you can contact Dr. Chen. He is I believe he's already in the process of opening up or getting his own practice already open. But I do know that you can contact him, and if you contact Brownstein and Crane, I'm pretty sure they will let you know um, why. Well, not why, but a little bit of why Dr. Chen left if you really want to know. But either way, I didn't change my mind because he left. I just wanted to state that I was supposed to be with Chen, then I got switched to Safer, and um, unfortunately for me, I have a lot of mental health issues, and that is one thing that's holding me back. So in Canada, if I wanted to get phalloplasty, I would have to go to Montreal, which would be completely fine with me. The only issue is that they don't offer alt phalloplasty. They only offer RFF, which would be to take the skin off of your arm. And as you can all see, I actually am tatted on my arms, and my dominant arm is not really at all besides my wrist. But at the end of the day, I'm a chef by trade and I work with my hands a lot. So for me to risk my dominant arm and its function, that's not something I'm willing to do. Also, I am not willing to just settle and have a phallus with tattoos on it, which a lot of people have given me flack for that Canada offers Phallo, and just because it's not the one you want, you should just go ahead and do it anyways, and you're the one who decided to get tattoos. Well, I got the tattoos before I knew that I was trans, and I got the tattoos before I knew that I might have to use this site as a donor arm. And let's be honest, like I love my tattoos that I have right here. They're very specific to me, and I don't want them on my dick. And I don't want to be told that I have to do something just because it's what's there and that's that. Because at the end of the day, I'm hoping that in the next few years there is a surgeon that pops up in Canada that is willing and able to do alt phalloplasty. So um, I guess my main reason for canceling is because of the distance. So I live in southern Ontario, Canada. And when I looked it up, I think it was like a 37-hour drive to San Francisco. Now, that's a 5-hour flight, which I looked at, which isn't bad. And I don't do bad with flying. I flew the first time probably 2 years ago. I've been on a plane like, well, I went on one trip, so the amount of plane rides for one trip. But it's one of those things where I was always really worried and thought that a plane would be an issue, but it's really not. I don't like the airports because there are far too many people. and it's far too congested, and then the either you're rushing or you're waiting doesn't go well with my anxiety and such. Um, I've been diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and agoraphobia. It's mild, but it's still there. Like, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I have not worked in 3 years, and I barely leave my house. But I have no source of extra income or like assisted income because the government is fickle when it comes to mental health, and it's really hard to get help. So that's where I've been the last 3 years, and I've been trying to work out my mental health stuff so that I would be able to leave my house and be able to go to San Francisco. And I've been working my way up, and I've been trying to see counselors at my doctor's office and stuff. But I've come to the determination that at this point in time, for me to actually go to San Francisco for a month is not in any way realistic for my mental health. I also have like mild OCD as well, so that's something that like it's a it's not a daily thing per se, but sometimes it definitely gets to be. And when I'm in a scenario where I'm not familiar with something, or it really would take a toll on me. And thinking back to trips that I've gone on in the past recently, like my wife and I got married just over 2 years ago, and we went on our honeymoon to New Orleans, and we only ended up staying there for about 3.5 days before I had to call my parents, and that was 3 in the morning their time. I had to ask them to book me a plane ticket for the next morning to come home because I was just getting worse and worse, and the medication that I was on at the time wasn't really doing it for me. So when I was in New Orleans, every day that I was there, in the span of 3.5, 4 days, I got so bad that I was literally in my hotel room feeling like I needed to and wanted to rip off my own skin. So I was a complete hot mess. Had to leave my honeymoon early, which nobody wants to do. And at the end of the day, you feel like a bastard for doing such a thing. But that's what I've dealt with in the past. Sorry, my dog's being silly. But that's what I've dealt with in the past. And even when I travel, if I go try to visit my family for more than like a couple days, and they only live like 5 hours from me, it's a struggle for me to be okay when I'm not in my home or in a setting where I'm feeling all right. Um, so that was one of the like that's pretty much one of the main reasons is that I had to come to a realization mentally that realistically I cannot send myself over to California and stay there for a month, and knowing that you have to be there a couple days before your surgery. It's one of those things where it's like I might lose my crap and then bail out, and then where am I? Or I might have a really bad go after I'm out of surgery just because of my mental health. And I know that all these things are things that I shouldn't be doing because it doesn't help, but it's one of those things where my surgery date is in November of 2018, and that's coming up in this year to come. So for me, it's a matter of in the span of a year, I can't possibly think that I would be mentally stable enough to go somewhere completely different. I know it's only the US, it's a country over, what's the difference? But it's one of those things where my mental health is so bad that I can't even fathom doing it, and it starts to get to me just thinking about it. So that's my main reason for canceling my surgery. Um, Also, financially, like I said, I have not worked in 3 years. I'm unable to. I do have doctors that agree that I am unable to work, but financial institutions that are supposed to be helping you, um, they're very sketch with mental health, and it's hit and miss. And there's a lot of like screwed up things that they gauge stuff on, and like it's just messed. Technically, I should have some form of income help, but it's just been a shit show. And to be honest, the doctor that I originally had before transitioning, I have been trying to get to that point with him, and he doesn't believe in mental health. So that's why it has also taken me so long, because the doctor that I originally had, probably like 3, 4 years ago, was not dealing with any of my mental health stuff properly. And he's older, like he was a lovely guy for the most part as my GP, but when it came to mental health and then my trans stuff, it was a different story. So, um, that also puts behind because he didn't document anything properly. So therefore, most of the things that I suffered from that he didn't document aren't there to be proof for me. So therefore, the government just says no. And to travel to San Francisco for me and my wife, because I would need to have somebody else there with me, would mean that she would need to take a month off work. It would mean that we would both need to spend money on a plane ticket, which is probably the cheapest thing. And then we'd also need to pay to stay at an Airbnb. Altogether, we would end up spending $6,000, and that would be also keeping in mind that she would have to minus a month's paycheck. So that's not really something that we can do right now. Also, I would have to get electrolysis, and from the places that I have been, it's $60 to $70 for an hour. I was told that I would need to come probably once a week up until my surgery date. I don't know if that would actually end up happening. I think towards my surgery date, or like in the summer, I'd probably end up not having to go as much. But probably for the first like 6 months, I'd probably have to go once a week or whatever to make sure that it was going to be ready on time. But if you times 60 or 70 by 52, I'm not even going to say the number, because when you add that all together, it's a lot of money that I would need to save up in a year, um, and I can't do that, and it's unfortunate because there are other things in my life that I'm trying to also do. I really want to be a dad, but that is not working out as smoothly as it has been for a lot of other people around me, and it's become something that's very upsetting. So this decision to cancel my phalloplasty was also a very difficult decision, because at the end of the day, you don't have money for everything, and you don't have means for everything, and sometimes things are just out of your reach, and it's a cold, hard reality, but sometimes you just have to think about that. And it's one of those things too where I know that it is not doable for me to go outside of Canada or a long distance for phalloplasty. So at this point, I have to focus on other things in my life and just hope that I can succeed there. Because at this point in time, I can't and am financially, mentally unable to be able to go through with phalloplasty, and it really fucking sucks because I've been thinking about it for quite a while. I've been really looking into it, and then it just so happens that for me personally, it's not something that's financially doable. I made a GoFundMe for my top surgery, and that was fine. I made the remaining $200 that I needed, and I was so grateful for it. But for phalloplasty, I don't want to do that, because it is covered under OHIP. So it's one of those things where even though I don't have the means, when I do, I would like to know that I did participate in that, because for my top surgery, I did pay fully for my top surgery. My histo was covered, but to know that I can get these surgeries covered is a great thing. It's just unfortunate that it's not accessible to me. If Montreal was willing to do alt and they were serious about it, I would definitely consider Montreal. I have no issues with the Montreal clinic. My only issue is that they aren't giving enough options to us. So to tell us that we can either have a metoidioplasty, which not everybody wants, but it's fine if you do, because we're all different. Phalloplasty, you can only get RFF. I don't know. To me, that's only two options. That's not really. I'm not saying give us 20 options, but come on. You can let me use my thigh. And I don't know. I'm just a little bit bitter about the fact that there is a clinic here. They're just not willing to do it when most other clinics are doing the metoidioplasty, and they're doing fallow, and they're doing more than one alt donor site. So to me, it's kind of just a piss off that there are all these surgeons right so close to Canada, and unfortunately for me, they're out of my reach. and that is something that I have to deal with, and it is a personal thing. But at the end of the day, it's really upsetting to know that Canada is actually pretty open when it comes to LGBT stuff, and to know that all of the experienced surgeons tend to be elsewhere for the most part is really upsetting, because to know that America is kind of a little bit more behind on the being okay with LGBT stuff. They have a lot of medical advancements, which is great, and I'm so happy for that. But at the end of the day, it's one of those catch 22 things. Um, I don't really know if I have anything else that I needed or wanted to say, but I guess this video is long enough. It's not really thought out in like a way where maybe it doesn't all make sense, but when you watch it all and then think about it, it might make sense. I apologize if I left anything out. I apologize if this is a little bit confusing. I apologize if it's a little bit long, but I kind of just wanted to share that because I don't talk about my mental health a lot, because I try to keep a positive attitude, and I try to put forth things that will encourage other people to be positive and be able to um, grow themselves. And I hope that my hope doing that is that in turn it allows me to grow and um, kind of overcome a lot of the things that I deal with. So, like, I love being the guy that's super positive and makes everybody feel great, and I don't like being the guy that comes on here and talks about how crappy my life is or something, because it's not. But there is there are aspects of my life that are very difficult to deal with, and I do want to share that because I don't want everybody to think that I'm just this guy that is super happy all the time and I'm always positive and I get everything I want. And I don't think anybody in life really gets what they want. Nobody ever will. Um, all I can say is that I have to try to overcome things just like everybody else. And I also try to focus on the fact that need is more important than want. And you have to put need before want, and want isn't always something that you need or deserve. So this is what I try to do, and I just try to remain positive, and then I guess just sharing this lets you guys know I don't want to like cry. I don't want to make lists of why things are stupid or why they suck or my illnesses or anything like that. I just kind of want to come on here and uh, be one of those people who lets you know that if you have things that hold you back, it sucks, but you're not alone. And unfortunately, there are a few of us that have to deal with this stuff, and obviously, watching other people be able to just travel or go get this surgery done. Because to be honest with you, if this surgery was offered in Canada, hell, if I could go to Toronto tomorrow and get alt phalloplasty using a thigh graft, and I knew that it would be awesome, like it would be what it's supposed to be, I would go tomorrow. I have no fears of surgery. I've had quite a few. I've had my appendix removed. I've had my tonsils and my adenoids. I've had 6 teeth removed. I've had my top surgery. I've had a hysterectomy, and I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. But it's one of those things where I'm not scared of surgery. So it really is a mental health issue to do with not being able to access certain things, which really sucks. So I just want to make this video to let people out there who suffer from the same things that you are not alone. It sucks to feel this way, but you can message if you need to talk. And also that just because things don't go your way and whatnot doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It sucks. It hurts. It's unfortunate, but life is what it is, and we just have to try to make it the best that we can from what we've been given. And, you know, that's how it is. So, that is, in a nutshell, pun intended, that's in a nutshell why I am canceling my phalloplasty with Dr. Safer at Brownstein and Green. So, I hope that was insightful, and I will talk to everyone later.